Stop waiting for someone to validate you, to tell you you're ready, to give you permission to want what you want. You've been circling the same dream for years, convincing yourself you need one more certification, one more approval, one more sign that it's safe to step forward. But the truth is, you're not waiting for permission, you're waiting for a guarantee, and guarantees don't exist for people who are called to build something new. What if the very thing you're waiting for is the thing that will never come until you move first? This is not another motivational speech. This is the moment you stop performing for an audience that will never clap loud enough and start building the life that's been haunting your imagination. I see you. I've watched you rehearse your pitch in the mirror, but never send the email. I saw you write the first chapter of the book and hide it in a folder labeled Someday.
I was there when you had the idea that could change everything, but you dismissed it because you thought, who am I to do this? I've seen you scroll past people less qualified than you, living the life you dream about, and instead of being inspired, you felt disqualified. You've been waiting for someone with authority to look you in the eye and say, you have what it takes. But that person isn't coming, because the only permission you need is the one you refuse to give yourself. There's a man in the Bible named Nehemiah. He wasn't a prophet, he wasn't a priest, he was a cupbearer, a servant in a foreign king's palace. But Nehemiah carried something deeper than a title. He carried a burden. He heard that the walls of Jerusalem, his homeland, were destroyed. The city was in ruins. The people were vulnerable, ashamed, stuck, and Nehemiah couldn't stop thinking about it. It wrecked him.
He wept, he fasted, he prayed. But here's the thing, Nehemiah didn't have permission to fix it. He didn't have the title, the resources, or the authority. He was just a guy serving wine in someone else's palace, carrying a vision no one asked him to carry. But one day, the king noticed Nehemiah's sadness and asked what was wrong. And in that moment, Nehemiah had a choice. Play it safe and stay silent, or risk everything and speak the vision out loud. He chose risk. He told the king about Jerusalem, and the king didn't laugh. He didn't dismiss him. He said, "What do you need?" Nehemiah got the resources, the letters of safe passage, the materials to rebuild, not because he waited for permission, but because he stopped waiting and started speaking. But here's what you didn't know. Nehemiah's journey didn't get easier after that moment of favor. When he arrived in Jerusalem and began rebuilding, he faced opposition, mockery, threats, people who said, "Who do you think you are? You're nobody. This will never work." Nehemiah could have quit. He could have said, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not the one. But instead, he did something radical. He ignored the voices and kept building. One stone at a time, one day at a time. And in 52 days, the wall that had been rubble for decades was rebuilt. Not because Nehemiah had all the answers, but because he had the audacity to move without permission. This is where most people miss it. They think the calling has to feel confirmed before they act. They think the path has to be clear before they take the first step. But that's not how faith works. Faith is moving when you can only see the next step, not the whole staircase. Faith is starting before you feel ready. Faith is building while people are mocking. And the moment you stop waiting for permission and start taking responsibility for the vision inside you, everything shifts. So let me ask you, what wall
are you supposed to be rebuilding? What broken thing have you been staring at, waiting for someone else to fix? What dream have you been carrying that you've convinced yourself isn't yours to pursue? You don't need a title. You don't need a platform. You don't need someone with more influence to co-sign your calling. You need to stop waiting and start moving. Within the next 60 days, the door is going to crack open, not the way you imagine, not with fanfare or applause. It will be a quiet moment, a small opportunity, a conversation that seems insignificant, and you'll have a choice. Dismiss it because it doesn't look impressive enough, or recognize it as your Nehemiah moment and step through it. The wall you've been staring at won't rebuild itself, but if you take the first step, send the email, make the call, start the project, speak the vision, God will meet you there with resources you didn't know existed. Here's your action. In the next 72 hours, do the one thing you've been telling yourself you're not ready for. Write the outline, register the domain, schedule the meeting, say the thing out loud to someone who can help. Stop rehearsing and start executing, because readiness is a myth invented by fear to keep you stuck. You don't get ready and then move. You move and become ready in the process. Nehemiah didn't wait until he had a degree in construction or a unanimous vote of confidence. He moved with a burden and a prayer, and God provided the rest. The mockery didn't stop him. The threats didn't stop him. The lack of credentials didn't stop him. What stopped other people from rebuilding Jerusalem wasn't the rubble, it was the refusal to act without permission. But Nehemiah didn't wait for permission. He gave it to himself, and the wall rose. You've been treating your calling like a wish, something you hope happens someday if the conditions are right. But it's not a wish, it's a responsibility. And every day you wait for external validation is a day that wall stays broken.
Every day you let fear masquerade as wisdom is a day someone who needs what you're building stays vulnerable. The life you want isn't on the other side of someone else's approval. It's on the other side of your obedience. Stop waiting for permission. Stop editing the dream until it's small enough to not scare you. Stop looking for a guarantee that doesn't exist. The wall is yours to rebuild. The vision is yours to carry. The move is yours to make. In 60 days, you'll either be further along than you've been in years, or you'll still be rehearsing. The choice is yours. But understand this, the longer you wait, the longer the wall stays down. And the world needs what you're building more than you need to feel ready. Nehemiah rebuilt a city because he stopped waiting and started working. Your turn. The next 60 days are your window. Move now. Build now. Stop asking for permission and start taking responsibility. The wall won't rebuild itself, but you were made for this. Now prove it.